What it do, YouTube? I am back with another video. So this one's actually going to be a little on the shorter side, and it's going to be something a little different from what I usually do, because usually I have like in-depth talks about a certain subject, and not saying this isn't going to be that, but I guess it's coming from a different place this time, because usually I want to be informative or give advice. And while I'll be doing that in this, episode, I wanted to talk directly and just have a heart to heart, as if I was talking to you guys face to face. And those on YouTube, if you already see the title of the video, you might have some certain expectations about it, but just stay with me. I'm gonna kind of break everything down in just a second, without too much to go into. If you guys are watching this on YouTube, please like, subscribe, hit those buttons. It helps me out and it doesn't cost you a dime. Wonderful. Now, if you know me, I'm gonna go right into it. Usually I open it on camera, but like earlier I wasn't thinking, and just opened it to let it air out. So I got an Apothic Cabernet Sauvignon, because you guys know I love Cabernets, and plus I haven't seen this design on the Cabernet, so it kind of stood out to me, and I was like, you know what? I haven't drank Apothic in a minute, so why not? So without further ado, let's pour this and get into it. All right. So today I kind of just wanted to have a heart-to-heart chat with you guys, right? Especially my, as you see the title, my fellow black people. This would have been a great video to do back in February, but I've just been seeing a lot of stuff recently, a lot of stuff about the black community, about different aspects, whether it's society, financially, relationship-wise. Like, I want to talk to my black folks, and I feel like there's a lot of things that have already been addressed and should be addressed. And do I think that my voice is going to make that much of a difference in the community? Who knows? Reaching one person is good enough for me. Makes me feel like I made an impact. So I just want to talk to my black people for a second. There's a lot of things that's, circulates social media. There's a lot of things that circulate social media, things that we see. We can go into the news, but I don't really watch the news personally a lot. But I know a lot of you guys. I mean, I'm on TikTok Live, and then, YouTube. I know a lot of you circulate through social media. Y'all see reels, information, sometimes even news on social media. And you know what? I think that there's a lot of things about the black community that I want to talk about. Where to start? What's funny is I didn't know what I was going to talk about for this podcast. I really did not. I came up with this like literally. That's good. Came up with this literally like 10 minutes before I set the camera up. I want to start with talking to black people about how we interact with each other in a public / like just in world setting, right? There's a lot of controversial things that I could bring up surrounding black people, surrounding the whole race topic, surrounding how we act in public, and how other races view us. There's a lot of things I can say about those things. However, one of the things that really pains my heart sometimes is just how we interact with each other. I feel like as far as especially races in America and just ethnicities in America, I feel like black people are one of the most, if not the most divided race in America, like internally. I feel like we are very internally divided. I feel like a lot of the things that we post about and things that go viral are stuff of us tearing each other down. The whole black on black crime thing is actually something that still rings true a lot, but I'm not even going to go into that. I'm going to go into the stuff that doesn't show up on statistical billboards and stuff that you can, just clickety clack Google and it comes up on the little government websites. I want to address how we interact with each other. I think that black people coming together for some reason is such a hard thing to do. And why is that? I don't know why that is. There's probably so much history I can go into. There's probably so many things I can pinpoint, like, oh, this happened at this year and this happened at this year and then caused a divide, blah, blah, blah. However, I think that with the tools that we have in society today, the tools, whether it be literal tools or just aspects of living that we have access to one another through, I think that with the tools that we have, there's no way we should be as divided as we are. And the reason why I say we're divided is because, for me personally, right, I can say right now that in my life, everything that I've gone through in my 27, about to be 28 years of living, the most aggressive, racist, the most aggressive things, the most racist things, the most belligerent things, and the most ignorant things that have ever been done or said to me have been by other black people. Which is interesting because you would think a couple of those things would be swapped, right? I mean, at least you should. You would be under the impression that a couple of those things are swapped, but no. The most violent and egregious acts that have ever been done against me have been by my own kind. Not only do black people, I've noticed that black people have a very hard time of getting along. Also, colorism is a really big issue. Like, colorism is a big thing. And the only other people I've noticed this in when it comes to like the same nationality is maybe Indians. But even then, as far as the aggressiveness of it, like Indians are very passive aggressive and they're more so on like a non-violent, like, oh yeah, you're not dating my daughter type energy. But like when it comes to just the raw, physical, harmful aggression, I've never seen anyone hate each other as much as we as black people do. Now, I do understand that there's different kind of black people. You know, we have black Americans. We have, people who are actually Africans, like, or even Caribbean folks. America is a melting pot. It is a melting pot. And there's a lot of black and brown nationalities. But I guess I want to more so focus on the actual like black American people, the ones who have generations born and raised in America, could probably, trace roots back to slavery and stuff like that. That's who I'm talking about. And the thing is, when I interact with people of my own community, there's a lot of jokes that can be said about it, and there have been a lot of jokes to be said about it. One of my favorite jokes, amongst the black community that kind of does show the true discrepancy and, just lack of community between us is Chris Rock when he said, I love black people, but I hate niggas. Black people love to have fun, and niggas always fuck it up. It's probably the most cussing I'm going to do on my podcast. But yeah, that joke is a very, like, we laugh at it, and I laughed at it when I first heard it, but it's absolutely true. It's true, and it's saddening, and it's very irritating, because there's so many quotes that I can name that ring true today. Like, you'll get more street cred going to jail than picking up a book and getting out of the hood. Like, to me, that's one of those things that pop out in my mind when talking about the black community, because like the fact that you will get more respect among a majority of the black community doing something that is not only by nature but by law not something you should be proud about. We get proud. We're proud about those things. Shoot, I mean, if y'all follow the NBA, look at Ja Morant, dog. This man has, I don't even think he really came from the hood for real. This man is in the NBA making tens of millions of dollars to hoop. And he keeps getting in trouble because he keeps doing what could be possibly seen as gang affiliated or violent, basically gestures about shooting at people. Dope shirt, Wu-Tang. Oh, for sure. I love it. But yeah, like the fact that people pride themselves in doing that, and then also like, just the whole mentality of it all is insane to me. I got bullied in middle school for not sagging my pants. And yes, by other black kids. They like, we got done with PE. I changed out my clothes, pulled out my jeans, and then right as I was about to leave, old boy pointed me out and was like, yo, like, why you pulling your jeans up so far? Like, you can't sag a little? Like, you look like a square. And people started laughing. And then, I mean, to this day, one of my most proudest, like, mic drop moments, I was like, well, you know where sagging came from, right? And it was like, what? And I was like, when people in jail wanted to let other people know that they booties was to be taken. And they couldn't say anything. And I walked out. Did they stop sagging? No. I mean, people sag to this day. Like, dog, people, I remember I was out. I was with my girl at a festival, at this Cherry Blossom Festival up in Macon, and I saw some dude. He had jeans, a belt on his jeans. His entire ass was out, dog. Like, I'm pretty sure if his shirt wasn't that long, you would have seen probably his like his piece. Like, and I'm not talking about a gun. I'm talking about his piece just sitting there in his underwear. And I'm sitting here like noticing it. I'm like, what's the point? Like, that's not that can't be comfortable for you, right? It's not comfortable when I sag, having to constantly pull my pants up because I forgot my belt or because my pants don't fit right anymore. It, like, you know how uncomfortable that is? And to know that, like, people think that's cool, or people think that that's a style to just show your ass, like, to the world. Like, I shouldn't know what color underwear you're wearing. I shouldn't. Whether you're a man or a woman, I should not know what color underwear you are wearing out in public. But before I get on a tangent about wardrobe and stuff like that, I'm going to just go back to my main thing. Like, when it comes to interacting with black people in the community, I want to go back to colorism. There's one of those things that, like, I noticed was a very big thing. Yes, I know that stereotypes come from a true place. I know that there's something that led to a stereotype taking hold in whether it be a comedic way or people actually take it to heart. But this whole light skin and dark skin thing, honestly, it got very old very quickly. It used to be funny when I was in high school. Now it's honestly very annoying. You know, the whole light skin and dark skin discrepancy, the whole, oh, that's a light skin thing, that's a dark skin thing. And you know what? Like, sometimes it is funny in the right context. Like, when people be talking about Drake and the cheesy stuff he be doing, I laugh sometimes. I do, because it is funny. But some people actually have, it's the same with horoscopes. Some people actually have predetermined ways of interacting with someone just because of their skin tone. Like, whether they're light skin or dark skin. And to me, that's ignorant, because that's literally like what we fought against, we are doing against each other. Like I don't know if that really like registers in people's heads and in black people's heads. What we fought against in basically our whole history of the United States, especially leading up to the 30s, 40s, 50s, and into the 60s, what we fought against, we are doing to each other. It's just in a different platform. On top of that, like I said, the things that we brag about going to jail, brag about having, street cred, brag about having a gun, bragging about shooting somebody, bragging about how many people they knocked out. And my thing is, unless I'm a professional boxer, the amount of people I've knocked out or lack thereof in my life is going to have no effect whatsoever on my ability to operate as a human being in society. Because this ain't Mad Max, dog. This ain't World Apocalypto, even though a lot of people feel like we're heading there. It's not that yet. So my ability to physically harm you has nothing to do with my ability to be successful as a person in America. It does not. As long as I'm not getting paid to step in a ring with other people and fight for money, that's my thing. People will brag about like, oh, I'm not plenty of niggas out. Okay, and how much did you get for it? And watch them pause, or they'll probably try to fight you because they think you being smart, because you technically are. But that's one of those things where I take into account. And going on to family households. Why is it a why is it a pissing match when it comes to how hard you've had it in life? And this isn't always between only black people. I've seen, people of all colors and backgrounds and nationalities do this, but a lot of people, the black community, like to compare hardships as if it's a badge of honor, as if trauma is something to hold high and mighty. And it's not. It's not. Now, I used to feel bad as a kid because my mom made sure that she put in herself a position to where me and my sister didn't have to experience what she went through. So, I would talk to other kids that I met being in the military, moving around, meeting new people. I would hear all the stuff that they had to go through, right? And I would feel bad because I couldn't input anything that was on their level, that was truly traumatic, that was like, oh yeah, this messed me up in the head. And I used to feel bad about that. Now I cherish it. But then if you talk to the right demographic, and a lot of the times it has to do with black people who grew up in, poor or, dangerous neighborhoods. When you talk to them about that, they'll make fun of you for it. They'll insult you for it. They'll, like, the fact that I never had to fight for my life is somehow making me less of a man than you are. Because I never had to fight for my life in the street, because I never had to shoot back at somebody, because I never had to spin the block on nobody, because I never did that. There are plenty of black folks out there who will make fun of me for that, and who will call me a square, a lame, a pussy, whatever. They'll call me that because of the fact that I never had to go through those hardships. And to me, that does not make sense to me. I would rather you be jealous and be like, damn, like, I wish I didn't have to, like, be out here in the streets doing that. Like, I would rather have a little animosity linked to jealousy than animosity linked to belittlement. And that's what it is. Like, a lot of people will belittle you because of that. They won't be jealous of you. Now, maybe deep down inside, some of them might be jealous because they're sitting here thinking, oh, you had it good. Like, you can do all this and that and the third without having to struggle in a certain type of way. And that might be a sense of jealousy. But some of them, a lot of them are not looking at it from that lens. They're looking at it from like this dude's a wimp. And, sad to say, I'm not a fighter. Now I'm not gonna let you push me around. Like, I'm not gonna just sit back and let you do whatever you want to do to me. No. But at the same time, I know what I'm capable of, not capable of. I know, like, physically and mentally where I am as a person just living his life, And a lot of people, like, for some reason, they don't see respect in that. They don't see respect that I'm going to school and chasing my dreams and stuff like that. They would rather hear about some stuff that could probably land me in jail or prison or worse. And it's just that, like, I'm sorry, like, if I were to go to my Snapchat feed, right, and then click all through these random stories, if I had $1 for every story I saw with a black man holding a gun, weed, money, or all three in their Snap stories, if I could have $1 for each time I saw one of those, I wouldn't need to work. I would be filthy rich. I'd have as much money as, actually, I'd have 3 times as much money as what they're flaunting on there. Because for some reason, money, drugs, and guns is like just the cocaine of the black community. It's the cocaine of the black community, whether you were raised in the projects or not. Because I've seen some people who they were raised in the suburbs with a dual parent household, that they're at somebody else's crib with all this stuff, trying to act tough, trying to pose, and they think that's cool. They think that's cool, and it's corny. It's corny as hell. Now, no, I'm not calling people who are legit in that lifestyle, because I know I have some family members. And you know what? That's what's crazy, bro. I have family members that are gang affiliated. I have family members that are really in the streets, that really bout that life. I have family members that really do this. You will never see them on Snapchat flaunting that stuff. You will never see them bragging about it to me or other family members. You'll never see them. If anything, they gonna tell you to stay away from it, especially if you're not from it. You think my family members that are in that, when I talk to them, they're like, hey, bro, like, I bet you if you were to come over here with me, do this, that, and the third with me, we can make some shade and we can get you up and we can get you to the bag. No, they never not once did that. They heard me, what I was doing with school and trying to pursue my dreams and doing all this and that third. And they said, I'm proud of you. They said, I'm glad you're doing that. I'm glad you're doing something like that. They look at my mom and they're not like, oh, sis, why you like ditch us or why you do this, that, and the third. No, they're not doing none of that. They're proud of her for getting out of an environment and situation that is built to keep us down. It's built to keep us down. But y'all already know that. But a lot of them don't care. I can go on this rant for days. They don't care. Either they don't care, they're already stuck in their mental ways that glorify the things that get them incarcerated or killed. And it's honestly very frustrating and it's saddening. And what's crazy is I met dudes from the hood that, like, if you did have certain prejudices, as soon as you talk to them or meet up with them, you'd be like, I got to keep my distance. Like, I need to back up and avoid them. But as soon as you have conversation with them, you realize that they got so much more to them than what's on that surface. They got so much more to them than what they grew up in. And sadly, a lot of people don't try to tap into that. A lot of black people don't try to escape and explore those other avenues that they could get to. And there are some people that get stuck in a cycle that get born into it, brought up in it, almost raised in it, and that's all they know. And sadly, there's not too much you can do once it gets to a certain point. Once they reach a certain age and they're stuck in that type of lifestyle, there's not a lot you can do. But what here's what I've never seen, or here's what I always see, right? I've seen people from the hood area do their best to make it out. And then when they do, the people that they left behind in that area condemn them. They condemn them. And to me, I feel like that's a very big representation of our lack of unity. Because why are you condemning someone for making a better life for themselves? Why are you, like, the phrase, oh, you don't went Hollywood, is one of those phrases that will automatically get my blood boiling. It will literally make me mad immediately, because it's like that phrase is not positive. Like, yeah, you may hear, oh, you done got Hollywood, and I mean, technically glowing up, getting money, being put in a whole different environment and lifestyle should be a good thing. But that phrase is not connected to something positive. It's connected to, something that's fueled by not only jealousy, but contempt. And I don't like that. I don't like that we have that outlook on, those type of environments. And then what I've never seen, never seen, because I just mentioned John Morant doing this, but for some reason that, like, I've never seen a white person who was born and raised with money try to downgrade. Now, I've seen them mess up. They didn't try to downgrade, right? They got into something. They got they had influences. Introduced them to certain things that made them crash and burn, and bad influences led them down a series of events that messed their lives up. That's different. I'm talking about, like, you are actively seeking out a lifestyle that you were not raised in. You're actively trying to, do this, that, and the third, and be part of something that you don't have any connection to. Like, I'll bring back the John Moran thing. He, like, you know what? I don't 100% for a fact know if he's from the hood or not. I do not. What I do know is that he is out of the hood. Like, he makes tens of millions of dollars playing basketball. What do you need to affiliate with the hood for? The only affiliation you should have with the hood is trying to get back to your community if you're from there. And even then, it's still a dangerous game to play. But if that's what you want to do, I respect it. And I think that's what you need to go after. But when you're in a position where you never have to touch a project building again, you never have to touch anything that is even remotely related to the hood, the streets, whatever, and you try to go back to that, or you try to immerse yourself in that kind of lifestyle, why? What is the point? Now, not only are you losing out games, losing money, getting in trouble, but now the whole world is looking at what you're doing, and they're starting to, like, there's going to be impressions made. And yes, at a certain extent, you should not care what other people think. What other people think, what other people say about you should not affect how you live your life. However, I think that when you are in a position to set an example, I think that you have to understand your personal position. Almost similar to the whole Chris Rock and Will Smith thing. It was one of those things where, like, that really struck a chord through the black community, because it's like you've never, ever at the Oscars seen anything like this. And the one time it happens, it's between two African American artists and two people who are revered not only by the black community but by people worldwide. And to see what transpired and to have Will go up and do that, like Chris Rock joked on it on his special after that went down when he addressed it. He was like, yeah, everybody's saying I could have swum back and everyone's saying I could have did this, but you know why I didn't? Because I had parents, because I was raised right. And you know what my mother told me? Never fight in front of white people. And yes, it's a funny joke, but there's truth to that. There's already an impression, there's already stereotypes, there's already a stigma on black people as it is in America. And when you feed those stigmas, especially as a person in a very high place in society where you have a lot of influence over not only pop culture but the community that you represent, you're shedding a negative light when it didn't have to go that far. If you would have just took one more minute to just think that through. And you know, these things that we have in this community, it's annoying. It's annoying. And it's just one of those things where I think that you know, when I feel like when black people start to come together more as a community, I mean, one of the things that I go back to is the Renaissance movement, right? The Renaissance movement was it back in or what was the official name of it? It wasn't Renaissance. Was it the Black Renaissance? The Renaissance movement? Like, what was it? You know, back in the 1920s where, you know how they talk about making like a black Hollywood, or, you know, just a black centered community where they have their own, you know, stores, brands, you know, center of commerce and stuff like that. I think the Renaissance, I know was a word in it. I don't think it was the Black Renaissance. I think that was the, something Renaissance. I know that for sure. And it was very heavily centered around music. And back in the 1920s and going into the 1930s, and it was one of those where it was like the first big boom of African American community and success. It was centered around music and stuff like that, where they were building a community and building a structure of, you know, black success. And yes, it did not last long, because obviously we know what happened from, you know, the 30s going into the 40s, 50s, and 60s. However, I think that a lot of the times we hold ourselves back because there is if we were to form a sense of community, there's a lot of things that we can change for ourselves. I'm not one of those ones who plays victim mentality. You'll never see me complain heavily about like the whole systemic racism thing and you know, struggling to get a job because I'm black and stuff like that. I understand that there are certain things that put us at a initial disadvantage. However, I think that if you constantly think in the mindset of being a victim, it keeps you from pushing past those boundaries. And one of the things is, I saw a reel of one guy who said that one of his things that he found very annoying was that he didn't like that when a black person gained notoriety success in today's world, it was always seen as an exception, not something that could just happen. And I'm honestly with that. Like, when you see black people succeed, when you see black success, it's okay to praise that. It's okay to revel in that and to see success in that. But if you view it as an exception, you're already in the mindset that it's not only improbable, but it's unlikely that you can succeed as a black person. And mind you, no, never impossible. Of course, it's hard. It's hard for anyone to succeed, no matter what color you are. However, that's just one of those things. And speaking of success, one of the things I like to talk about with a lot of people that black people don't really emphasize is generational wealth. Like, we are very illiterate when it comes to stuff like that. And like I said, it's all about what our role models and what we in a society like to just show off and like to praise. Oh, what's up, Gigi? Like to praise among our community. We like to praise buying fancy things. We like to praise buying jewelry, cars, showing off, blowing money, just blowing, like, honestly, blowing money on things that do not matter is one of our biggest flexes. For what? For what? Because my thing is, I feel like what we, like, as a people, as black people, what we condemn some other people, oh, you got raised with a silver spoon in your mouth. Oh, you didn't have to, work hard for anything. Oh, you didn't have to fight in the streets for nothing. Cool. Like, I don't want my kids to fight in the streets for what they need. I don't want my kids to grow up having to scrape and struggle and to, become men when they, men or women when they're not supposed to, just because we couldn't take care of business. Like, I want that silver spoon. I want my kids to be spoiled. Now, I want them to have morals and, a good head on their shoulders and to be respectful people. But at the same time, you can do that while raising them in an environment where they can have whatever they want. And I don't understand why black people don't see why that's a good thing. Because they'll look at, like almost every classic black movie and even ATL movies that involved white people in some way, shape, or form. A lot of them had white people who were, wealthy or whatever. I mean, look at the movie Atlanta or ATL with T.I. Look at that. Like, watch that movie and really break down what's going on. A chick who was born in a very, very pricey household with both parents is going to the hood to hang out, and she don't want to tell people she got money because she want to be a part of the hood. And then when they find out that she's like that, they almost basically excommunicate her. For what? Because your parents did something with their lives? Because they put you in a better position to live? It's actually random, but the sign actually is not. Yes, it does look dope. Always. But it's one of those things that really, it confuses me and it really irritates me, because it's like, why do we have to have that outlook? And then when we see the people that really do have money and really do have wealth, especially, the artists, the rappers, the singers and stuff like that, what do they cherish over everything? They cherish the, getting to the bag and showing it off, blowing it on women, on cars, on drugs, on whatever. Like, that's what we damn near praise. We damn near praise it. But a lot of the white people aren't doing that. When they got money like that, they invest it into their futures. They put it in savings. They spend it wisely. Like the whole thing of, just like, I don't care how much money I got. I will never spend money like rappers spend them. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Like, I'll never go to a strip club and drop thousands upon thousands of dollars. I don't even like strip clubs to begin with. I don't. It's not my vibe. It's not my scene. And then on top of that, like, buying, like, the most I would probably do is like buy cars. I'm not even that big of a jewelry guy. Like, people walk around with $100,000 chains on. The most I probably will ever spend on a necklace, ever, is maybe 5 figures on the lowest end possible. I don't care how rich I am. I would never spend 6. I'll never spend over, probably, I would say realistically, if I had all the money in the world, I still wouldn't spend probably more than like 15, 20K on any piece of jewelry. And at that, it has to be one of the most impressive accent pieces that really pop out and define like what I stand for. Even then, I'm still probably never ever going to buy something that expensive just to wear. I'm sorry. I'm not going to do it. Those watches that people show off that tell the time just like a freaking regular G-Shock or a Michael Kors or, anything like that. I'm not going to spend 5 figures on something that sits on my wrist and tells me what my phone tells me in the first place. I'm not going to do it. Like, to flex, to tell people that I can afford this brand. Like, yes, I want to impress, but impression in the style, impression in the way I carry myself, impression in the way I put things together. I've seen thrift store outfits look more impressive than something that you would buy in the most expensive of luxury stores that rappers go to. I'm sorry. Like, you don't need to buy those things, and you don't need to blow your money on it. And what's sad is, like I said, if I were to walk into, like, say if I were to walk into the hood right now, and actually, all right, let's start over the scenario. So say I'm in the hood, right? And I find like 5, 6, 7 people, and I give them each $1 million, and I got $1 million. And then I say, hey, take a week, spend this money however you want to, come back, and let's talk about how we spend our money. I am willing to bet all the money that I spent that not one of them is going to say, I invested in a Roth IRA. I, put this in, I started up a savings account. I, invested this for my kid's future. They gonna come back with, all types of materials and things that they really don't need. And now, what I'm saying right now is, yes, an assumption, is something that's very stereotypically based. However, like I said earlier, stereotypes do come from a true place. And sadly, these are things that I have witnessed not only across the news or in, social media or platforms, stuff I've witnessed in real life, stuff that I have witnessed from actual accounts of people telling me what they've done with their money. And it's always the black community. It's always the black community. And no, other races are not immune to the same temptations, immune to the same, ignorant investments. But the concentration of the people that do that is a little too high for my comfort within our own community. It is. And it's like, why is investing in a better future for you and your future generations such a negative thing? Such a what's the word? It's the opposite of forefront. It's so far in the back of priorities when it comes to a lot of people among the black community that if there isn't a like societal shift in the way we think and act and how we put our, funds and finances into certain places, we're going to stay in the same predicament. We're going to stay in the same position. And then on top of that, like, so I don't go too long with this episode, the last thing I wanted to address among the black community is between relationships, between, the whole men versus women thing. I think that when it comes to men versus women, the black community probably has one of the biggest gaps, the biggest disconnects of all. The things that I see circulate through social media, the things that happen on podcasts, the discussions that you see happen between, like, oh, well, what's a man supposed to do? What's a woman supposed to do? What does it look like? Like, what's the dynamic supposed to be in a relationship between a man and a woman? And the verses, the headbutting, the battling, the almost name calling, it's just so skewed that it's saddening and it's heartbreaking, dog. It's heartbreaking because almost every reel I come across where it's a man saying that, women ain't nothing but hoes, or women saying, men ain't shit. Like, all of these videos that I come across where it's men and women just basically crapping on each other and talking bad about them, it's 90% us, black people. It's 90% us. Like, the strong, independent, like, think about that. When I say the two words, strong, independent, I guarantee most of you, the first things that come into your head after the strong and independent is black woman. Strong, independent black woman. And yes, we love strength and we love independence. We love when you're able to function as an adult on your own. We love when you handle business and do what you need to do. However, strong, independent black woman has been raised with the subtitle of, like, there's a subtitle under strong, independent black woman, that shall not be controlled. And not saying that you need to control women, not saying that men should control women in a relationship, because they shouldn't. But the thing is, when it comes to strength and independence, it comes with a mindset of not wanting to give any type of power to someone else in your life, to another man. That strength and independence comes with the lack of I guess the lack of compromise given to a man in your life. Because if a man comes in, says, I got X, Y, and Z, and this is what I want to do, and this is what I want to add, if you can't either take all of the responsibility away from her or exponentially grow her own stuff, then a lot of the times they're going to kick you to the curb. And what's crazy is, like I said, there's nothing wrong with strength and independence, but at the same time, how often do you see this kind of talk and this kind of behavior happen among other races in the community? You don't. Like, you really don't. Especially like the Asian community. Like, honest, I'm not gonna lie to you. The Asian community is one of the most, like, if you want an example of what men and women should be doing for each other in relationships, healthy relationships, Asian culture is probably one of my favorite, if not my favorite, cultures to look at in that aspect, because you see what they do for each other, and there's no competition. There's no headbutting. There's no, oh, you don't tell me what to do, or, oh, I ain't doing that, or, hey, woman, do this, that, and the third, or, like, what I told you, or, like, they don't do that. You have a man who does what he does, leads a household, and you have a woman that does whatever needs to be done for her man and in the household, and you don't see her complaining or feeling like she's being made to be something she's not, or being belittled, and you don't see the man feeling like he's, battling or arguing or with someone that, just gives him hell all the time. And, when I say this, I'm saying it because this is a trend that happens way too often within the black community. I'm not saying every black woman acts like this. I'm not saying that every black couple is, prone to go through these, discrepancies. But at the same time, you have to look at the concentration of where you're seeing these actions at, where you're seeing these clashes of ideas and the way they move in relationships. You don't see them in the Asian community, not like that. You barely see it in the white community. And the Latino community, like you may see it a little bit, but you don't see it as much as black people. And, sad to say, that's just the truth. Among the black community, we tear each other down so much. That question of, what do you bring to the table? What's your body count? How much money you make? What do you do with this? And can you do this? Or you're less of a man if you can't do that. And you're less of a woman if you can't do this. Like all of these things and all of these attacking questions and inferences, you don't see that among other people as much, not nearly as much. And you know what? If you don't believe me, I challenge you. I challenge you to look up some prompt about these like red pill conversations about like, oh, what should a man bring to the table? Or like, oh, what, should a woman do? Like, look up something that promotes your algorithm to show you videos of men and women attacking each other damn near. And I guarantee you, if you go through the reels and count them, I'll say about 60 to 70% of them are between black people. 60 to 70% are between black people. And the percentage of what we make in the American population. I ain't got to say it. 60 to 70% of those reels and those videos of men and women attacking each other are black. It's something I noticed, and it's something that really is painful. It's painful. And yes, I'm in, my own relationship. I got my own things going on. I got my own things that I'm figuring it out. And, at the end of the day, because I have my own situation, there's a part of me that says, you know what, you really shouldn't care what all of these unrealistic standards and, high expectations and just honestly, blatantly just like fantastical ideologies, like where they're coming from and who's saying them. But at the same time, as a black man, I want to see black people succeed. I mean, I want to see everybody succeed. I know that's not going to be the case because not everybody's going to succeed. If success was easy, then everybody would be doing it. But I want to see black people succeed. As a black American, I want to see my people succeed, especially because we've been spending so long feuding with each other and tearing each other down in so many ways that I'm tired of seeing it. I don't want to see it anymore. It actually pains me to watch these things happen. It does. And, in relationships and with each other, out on the street, seeing how black people battle each other so much is a pain to watch. It really does hurt. It hurts me to my core. And, one of the things is like, I have a lot of black friends. As someone who has certain mindsets and certain ideals, I want to be able to build within my own community, to have my friends and even my family join me and have similar bonds and similar goals and similar lifestyles. And we cannot do that if we constantly attack each other as a community. And that's what we always do. We always attack each other. And like, it's just one of those things. And like, to go back to colorism, like even when you're not from the hood or not having these certain mindsets, like I said, the most racist things that have ever been said towards me or about me have been from other black people. And it's disheartening. And honestly, it's very frustrating. And all I wish is that, people just, come together for once. And I know how hard that is. I know that we all have different backgrounds and, different things like that. But it's like, if we're constantly feuding with people of other races and then constantly feuding within ourselves, the only thing we're doing is self-destructing. We're self-destructing. And we're making life harder for ourselves than it really has to be. And it's a lot of bitterness, a lot of, just ill feelings. I don't know why people are so allergic to happiness and peace. I don't know why people have to seek out issues. I don't know why people have to make themselves, they had to put themselves in a position to deal with drama and craziness. I don't know what's so wrong with having a peaceful life or having a peaceful relationship, being in a peaceful community where people are happy and enjoy each other's company. Like, it really does not make sense to me. It's almost like over these years, constantly with pop culture, social media, it's almost like we've glorified conflict and violence. And to me, that is ignorant. It's very ignorant. Like I said, violence and conflict has been glorified among the black community. And even when it shows in, like, when it causes frustration, when it causes heartache, when it causes turmoil, then people either relish in it or they take it and they start their own cycle, and it continues and it continues. And I feel like, if I were to sum this all up in one thing, I would just say that as a black community, if we're going to do the things that we know we can do and prove the people who wanted to keep us down wrong, we have to change things up. We have to fix our mentality. We have to fix our actions. We have to fix the way that we move as people. We do. Because all of these issues, they're in other communities, but they're not nearly as prevalent. They're not nearly as much of an issue. So, and there's nothing wrong with taking advice from other cultures. Yeah, they may not know exactly what we're going through, or they may not know, all of what we had to deal with. But my thing is, if you receive advice on how to do something or how to uplift yourself or how to elevate yourself from someone of another race, don't immediately combat and be like, oh, you don't know what we got going on, or you don't know what we've been through. You don't know what our situation is, trying to enforce that. No, just take the advice. Understand that the start of your life or the start of that process is going to be different, but what you have to do is still the same thing. That advice, if it's advice coming from someone who actually did something with their lives and made something of themselves, take it. And if they were born with the opportunities to do that, why don't you still take that advice and maybe build yourself from scratch, so that when your kids find themselves in a position that guy you talked to years before is now in, you can give that advice to them. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because just because it doesn't work for you right now doesn't mean that it's not valuable information that you can give to someone else who could possibly be in that position. Because if you worked hard, put yourself in certain positions, and certain opportunities arose, then what the advice that he gave you didn't work for you, but you put yourself in a position to where that advice he gave you will work for your kids or maybe your grandkids. Like, we act like just because we get information that may not be pertaining to our situation at the moment doesn't mean that it's invalid information. Keep it, save it, be smart. Keep, like, what you hear and what you see and what someone goes out of the way to give you as far as guidance, keep that. Write it down, type it down, whatever you need to do to save it. Because at the end of the day, if they're giving you advice and they got things that you will never have, why are you thinking that advice is null and void? Now, it's one thing if you're getting advice on how to become a millionaire from a homeless dude. That's, of course, you're not even going to pay no attention to it. But if you getting advice from someone who has obviously benefited from said advice, why not take it? Why not keep it for later, for someone who might actually benefit from it? So that's all I'm saying, and that's I've ranted enough. I hope you got the point that I was trying to make. I hope that people of my community listened and maybe took some things from this. Like I said, I'm not expecting a whole, my words to start a whole revolution, because if that could be done, then it already would have been done. But I just, it was something I wanted to get off my chest and wanted to share with you guys, and just wanted to, make it clear to the people that listen to me on a continuous basis that, like, yeah, it's going to be hard, but it's not impossible. When we succeed, it's not going to be an exception. It's going to be because we earned our way there. It's not because we just lucked out. Yeah, luck has something to do with certain things when it comes to the level of success, but I want to see my black people succeed, bro. And I don't like that we tear each other down as much as we do. It's unnecessary, and it's it's counteractive, and it's counterintuitive to what we try to claim we can do. We try to claim that we can do it on our own. We try to claim that, we as black people can be successful, can be bosses. Then prove it. Not just with your actions, but with your mindset. That's just it. So I appreciate you guys for listening, for coming along with me through this rant that I did not expect to last as long as it did. But like I said, I appreciate you guys. I hope that my words spoke, to the souls of somebody that was listening, and some people could really feel the message that I was trying to get across. But once again, I will, of course, talk to you guys later. Love y'all, and until next time.